Welcome back to another episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Jones, the Bluff City Cowboy, coming to you live from Memphis, Tennessee. And we are beginning our new season of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. For those of you who are new to the DC4L network, this is a podcast that is powered by the DC4L Facebook group. We come on weekly. We talk about Cowboy stats. We cover game-by-game analysis. And we try to give you guys and keep you guys up to date on all things Dallas Cowboys before, during, and after the regular season. So, because it's the first night back, joining me as a special guest, we have the co-owner of the DC4L Facebook channel, Miss Amanda Foster. Thank you for joining us, Amanda.
Hey, thanks. I'm glad to be back. Man, I love football too much. I've been missing it. It ain't even been a month and a half since the Super Bowl, and I'm already like jonesing for the next football game.
Yeah, I know. We're just a couple of weeks from the draft, so we have a lot to talk about. So before we go deep into the draft, we do like to cover some free agency because I know everybody's excited and they're doing their mock drafts, but there are phases to the offseason, and typically we're still kind of in the free agency phase until a week before the draft. So we've had a lot of signings over the past couple of weeks. So tonight, we're going to give you guys a breakdown of all the free agent signings, who they are, and how they fit into a Christian Parker defensive scheme. So we got a lot of information for you guys. Before we get started, thank you guys who are joining us from the DC4L Facebook group. If you haven't done so already, make sure you like this broadcast. And for those of you who are not watching from the group, be sure to log into Facebook, type in DC4L. It's a very interactive group. Got a lot of mods, so we try to manage everything and make sure that it's a safe space for Cowboys fans. You want to just come and learn something, you want to come and start a dialogue, it's a great place to join. How many do we have in the group right now, Amanda?
150,000.
All right, so we could fill up Cowboy Stadium and then some with the number of people that are in this group. So if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you go to DC4L, hit that like button, come join us and join in the conversation. Also, for you guys who are watching from YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching. DC4L has a YouTube channel. Just type in DC4L on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. And you can also find me on YouTube at Bluff City Cowboys. So I see we got quite a few people joining from the DC4L group. So thank you guys for that. This is an interactive show, so make sure you get in the comments. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your questions. Let us know how long you've been a Cowboys fan. Just all things Dallas Cowboys. We are here to talk and discuss outside of our topics. And I see we got William Wiggins joining us tonight. Longtime viewer. Thank you for joining tonight.
William has probably messaged me, I would say 2 or 3 times, making sure we'd be back on soon, wanting to know when we were getting started. So we appreciate you so much, William.
Yeah, we're only about 2 weeks off from where we normally start. We normally try to start right after the week after the start of the regular season. But I had some personal stuff come up the past 2 weeks. So I'm just 2 weeks off, but we are here and we're back for the rest of the off season and going into the regular season.
We are ready.
And we got Ashley Rollins Jacobs joining us. Ashley, thank you for joining as well. Appreciate you tuning in. All right, I see those views are growing in the DC4L group. Also, for you guys who are watching, if you like, you can also share this. Share it to your favorite Facebook group. Share it to your personal page. Let the people know what we have going on in the DC4L Facebook group, as well as the conversation that we have tonight. So as you guys can see at the bottom of the screen, tonight's topic is a Cowboys free agency breakdown. So basically, I will be going over all of the free agents because it looks like all the free agents are defensive, right? Except for the quarterback.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna stick with the defensive side of the ball. We got quite a few people to talk about, and I'll tell you how they fit and how they tie in. one thing I noticed when I looked at this, and this is completely different from years past, and I know everybody's kind of disappointed that we didn't make the big splashes that we expected. But one thing I will say, everybody we signed has a tie to the scheme.
Yep.
So there's no more what I would call a square peg in a round hole scenario where you take a player because they have a name that the fans recognize, and then you try to make them fit into the scheme. All these guys that we've signed have a tie to the scheme or one of the position coaches. So they already kind of know what their role is and they know what's to be expected of them.
I mean, I think honestly, if you want to be real, the only person that I think Cowboys Nation can really say we missed on, which they even tried to get him, I mean, is N'Kobe Dean. If you
Mhm.
really want to look at the people, I know it's not players that y'all like, but every player isn't a nobody for the most part. That's the thing. They've had history. I mean, people are upset with Kobe Durant, and you've got the man that had three, what was it, two or three in the interceptions in the postseason. It's just I'm excited to see that it really looks like Jerry isn't saying, "Here's what we have, Christian. Good luck."
Mhm.
This is we were getting rid of people that don't fit the scheme. That's not normal. So I'm
Yes.
very excited about that.
Absolutely. And the players you're talking about are Osa and Solomon Thomas,
Yep.
who, while we all like them as players, they just did not fit what this scheme is looking for.
And
And before we get into free agency, we will kind of
yeah.
show the scheme a little bit too. I'm sorry. Go
Okay.
ahead, Amanda.
Well, I was just gonna say, and when I say what I was about to say, it's one trick pony, and I mean no offense to either of those men. It's
Yeah.
just that they're we'll talk more about the scheme, but those, if you notice what we bring in, they can do a lot. They can fit into many different places. It's a very versatile role because we're going to be doing a lot of 3-4-4-3. It's going to be a very blended system, not overly 4-3. It's going to be very blended. So we needed players that were versatile. We kind of got rid of the ones that are one trick ponies.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Because if you play a player like Osa, and Osa's really only about 280, 285
right,
max, you can only play him in one spot. He's not big or athletic enough to play end. I mean, he's too big and not athletic enough to play end. He's too small to play tackle. He's really
right,
only a three tech. And in this scheme, we're rarely gonna have what would be considered a three tech on the field.
right.
So you're gonna have to pay him $21 million and hope he can play a defensive end, or you're gonna handicap Christian Parker's scheme to try to make Osa fit. So for
Right.
both of those reasons, you had to let him go. Same
And
with
you have
Solomon
to,
Thomas.
as much as we hate, the 49ers, you have to be grateful they sit him somewhere he's going to get playing time. He
Yeah.
fits in that scheme very well. So, from a perspective of what's best for Osa, what's best for the team, they really hit the nail on the head right there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And Joe Foster, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you tuning in.
what's up, Pops?
Danny Olivares looks like a new name. Thank you for joining also. Hope you're enjoying your time in the DC Frail Facebook group. And you brought up Quay Walker and N'Kobe Dean. And I was talking to some other podcasters about this. And for one, I want to say I am upset because they said they offered the same money and
Right,
Dean chose the Raiders. If you really wanted the guy, sweeten the deal.
right,
Add something to incentivize him to want to stay and come to Dallas. But on the other side of that, what I was telling some other podcasters, if you really look at the situation and people say, well, who wants to play for the Raiders? You got to realize Dean and Walker were roommates in college at Georgia. They ran a 3-4. They ran a 3-4 in Georgia, and those were the two middle linebackers. So you got to think about the camaraderie and the relationship that those two guys had playing 4 years of college ball, winning 2 national championships together. And now they both get a chance to get paid and they get a chance to play together again.
right.
I mean, these guys probably look at each other like brothers.
Yeah.
Because they play the same position and they played through college. So I know it hurt that we didn't get them, but it wasn't just a money thing. I'm positive that those two guys have to be close for him to make that decision.
I think it's, yeah. And like you said, Jerry was counting on the star. You're working with the person who is bred to hate the Cowboys. You had to offer more. I know that
Yeah.
sounds crazy, but think about it. Eagles players hate the Cowboys. Granted, we see a lot. We see some interchanging. What was it? Jason Peters a few years ago. He came in because he had nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
You're talking about N'Kobe Dean had offers.
Yeah.
He had other places to go, and you just like, here, this is what we have. Not even going to make it better. His coach wasn't going to be the only thing to pull him here. You had to
Exactly.
offer more.
Yeah. Teammate trumps coach.
Yeah.
10 times out of 10.
That's your brother on the field. Look, that might be. It's like your daddy on the sidelines. Brother, daddy.
Exactly.
You love them both, but you're going to stand with your brother 90% of the time. So
right. I was giving somebody else the example, like we're podcasters. Let's say you and I do this podcast together, and I got a call from Fox, and you got a call from, I got a call from CBS, you got a call from NBC, and we go our separate ways.
right.
And now Fox calls both of us, or ESPN calls just you.
I'm going with Fox.
If we're close and the
Right.
money's the same and we have a good connection, we're going to go to the same place.
Right.
The name on the board doesn't matter, because once you get to that point, it's about being comfortable with who you're with and where you're at.
Yeah, you got to work with that person. You don't. It's thrown to the wolves by yourself, or with someone you're familiar with that you can shoot the crap with. So that's
exactly. So yeah, the move made a lot of sense. I wish they would have done something to incentivize him to come here, but I understand from his standpoint why he didn't make that decision. All right, and William Wiggins said the taxes have not played a part in a player in forever.
Right, and it is
it
bizarre.
Should, but it doesn't.
Micah is a great example of that. Micah got $47 million and walked home. I think it was with like 29.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great example, but they don't seem to take it in. I would never want to play. And I know I would never want to play in California if I was a professional sports player. You couldn't pay me enough to do it because
Absolutely.
They take so much.
Yeah.
But I would personally choose a state with no state income tax, but
yeah,
players, I guess, don't think about it like us normal people do because they're millionaires.
Right. Exactly. Once you got that much money, you're not thinking about $3 million. You're thinking about the respect of, they offer me 12 and they offer me 10, even though at the end of the day, that 10 is going to be more than that 12.
Yeah. But 12 isn't bigger than 10 on paper. So
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. When that ticker comes up on ESPN, it doesn't say minus $3 million in taxes because you're in California. Right. Yeah. Russell Dyer makes a great point. I think they're going to get a linebacker.
I want one before the draft.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I know.
Yeah.
And I know you know why. I mean, I have told you my wild, crazy ideas, but I do want. We've seen the news. Even the Miami Herald put out that the Cowboys are still in talks for Brooks.
Yeah.
Maybe during the draft we see it. Do you think maybe that's how Miami could sweeten the pot to move up if they wanted to move up some?
I could see that because
I just thought of that sitting here. So
yeah, Miami needs pieces bad.
They need
I mean, they don't have a receiver that they can. I mean, Jalen Tolbert's their best receiver. Tells you how bad it is in Miami.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, they just lost their starting corner, their starting safety, their starting defensive end.
The quarterback. Lost their quarterback.
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, they didn't play with him half the year anyway because he's one concussion away from like a hospital bed, but which is still crazy to me. They're in cap hell. They are in cap hell. So I know they need to get rid of Jordan's contract too. I don't know how big it is though. Do you know? Is he still on rookie or is he?
He's not on rookie.
I didn't think so. He's on his. They paid him.
Well, if they traded him to us, we don't have to pay the signing bonuses and stuff. So for us, it would probably be, I think, $8 a year.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I think they would take another cap hit this year, but he's on the last year of his deal, I think. So it wouldn't be a big cap hit for them. That's
give
another reason I wouldn't give them too much because of that. But yeah, all right. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about the Christian Parker scheme first, and then we'll go into the players that we drafted. I mean, the players we signed and why they fit. Russell Dyer says it's not too bad, but he wants a new one. That's the hold up. I mean, at this point, he doesn't have much of a choice. If they traded him, I mean, he can come here and be a a malcontent for a year, but he's got to take what they give him. I mean, if you look at it from his perspective, do you want to be on a sinking ship in Miami, or would you want to come to Dallas where you can be the guy and you're playing in a scheme with one of the hottest young coordinators that completely revamped their defensive line, which is what a linebacker loves more than anything.
Right. That's money to a linebacker. I would want to go to Dallas. I
Yeah.
think, like I told you, I don't think Dallas is very far away if we make the right moves to finish this off. So,
Yeah, I agree. See, we got Jeff joining us. Jeff, appreciate you tuning in as always, longtime follower.
what's up, Jeff?
Uh, Benjamin Medina asked the question: do you think Trayvon or Stephon play football again? I say yes. They're probably going to play on the same team. They're
Yes or
probably
last
going to
chance?
be dirt cheap players. I'm looking at Vegas as
I was
top.
thinking Miami.
Miami is my second option.
Yeah, I think they're going to end up in Miami because they need a wide receiver and they need a corner. I mean, burnt toast
Yeah,
but one of them played in the Super Bowl last year. So
yeah. But when I think about it, Miami and Vegas are the last two places I want to have those guys call their home. That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
I mean, they're already pretty much in pretty deep water as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, so we'll have 10 more kids in the course of a year.
Exactly.
But I think they play again too.
Yeah.
Benjamin, I think they do. So
Yeah. I think they finally give their mother her wish for them to be on the same team so she can see both of them on the field wearing that same jersey. They talked about that quite a bit 2 years ago, and Amanda and I pretty much predicted that Diggs will possibly come here because of that.
yeah, we thought
But
Stephon was coming.
yeah, but I think now it definitely happens.
You think I saw the Packers hadn't closed the door, but they sure dropped him like a hot cannon, didn't they? So
Yeah.
up, we're out of the playoffs. Bye.
I mean, he only played 2 snaps in the playoffs.
2 snaps. I mean, they probably watched some more film.
Mm-hmm. And they got a new defensive coordinator too. I can't see him bringing in a guy who could be a potential distraction when he's trying to build up his roster.
Right.
All right. Jeff says, give me Shazier. I mean, I wouldn't be upset with that. I would probably guess we're gonna draft a linebacker and we'll probably pick up Okereke. That's my prediction. It's sign Okereke or trade for Brooks. I think those are the two options. When I look at the scheme, both of those guys have familiarity with Christian Parker and Vic Fangio. So if you're gonna get a Mike, I think you're gonna get a guy who can come in and already kind of know the terminology. But I don't think it's as big of a deal as people make it out to be. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about Christian Parker's scheme, and then we will go into the free agents and how they fit. So, Christian Parker comes from the Vic Fangio school of defensive coordinating. I know people keep trying to say he's this young genius and he's going to revolutionize the game. But at the end of the day, you're going to go back to what you know. So when you look at the Vic Fangio scheme and what they did in Philly, and you listen to the interviews that Christian Parker's already done, he's pretty much talked about these certain things. For one, they play to limit explosive plays. So they like to keep everything in front of them. They don't like to give up the big play. They like to give themselves more opportunities to potentially make plays on the ball. And because of that, they like to force long drives in their scheme. So they like to keep things short passes. They protect over the top, and they play the run great. He likes to disguise coverages. That's why we talked about before the importance of the safety in this game. They had to go get a safety that knew what they were doing. That's why Jalen Thompson was the free agent signing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But you have to have a guy who can play free safety, strong safety, some nickelback, and be able to come down in the box and tackle like a linebacker, because that safety is going to be all over the field. And I'll show you guys some examples in a minute. Um, they like to stop the run with light boxes. What that means is Amanda and I touched base on it earlier in the show. They got rid of Osa, they got rid of Solomon Thomas. They brought in Ogbania, who's 340. They brought in Bullard, who's 300. They're going to have big guys up front, and they're going to have light boxes. So they need big guys who can cover multiple gaps so that you don't have to sacrifice your linebackers to help in the run game. And they also like to pressure without heavy blitzing. So not only do you have big defensive tackles, you also need defensive tackles who can get after the quarterback. You've got one of the top 3 to 5 in Quentin Williams. Kenny Clark's going to give you 4 to 5 sacks a year. He's really good at that. And then you've got the Jay Toyas and the Jonathan Bullards who can give you some pressure as well, coming from different spots. And then you got Rashawn Gary, who's going to be a solid 8-sack guy. So that's kind of what he wants up front. Let's go a little bit more into the scheme. Man, if you want to chime in, just let me know. I got 2 more slides I want to talk about.
Go for it. I'm listening.
All right. If anybody has any questions, this is an interactive show. Please get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on what we're talking about. All right. So in terms of his secondary, he likes to play too high. So basically, your 2 safeties are going to look like they're in cover 2 at all times. They're always going to be 12 to 15 yards off the ball. That's why we said, going back to the first slide, light boxes. You're not going to have that 8th man in the box. They're always going to look like cover 2.
And that's why they brought in my opinion, one of the top safety prospects that was a free agent, and then Locke. Personally, they brought in stellar people to fill those roles.
Right, Locke and Thompson. Both of those guys are great tacklers. They know the scheme. Locke was with Christian Parker in Denver. Thompson was with Ryan Smith in Arizona. They both come from that Fangio tree. So these guys are perfect. To be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if Malik Hooker ends up getting cut post-draft if they draft another safety.
Depends on how it falls, I think.
Yeah. So
if Downs is there, you don't pass on him. I don't think.
Absolutely not. Downs is he's a defense changer, especially for what they want to do in terms of rotating per snap, and then the cover 3 buzz. And I have a chart. I'm going to show you guys what cover 3 buzz means. But essentially, cover 3 buzz means you give a cover 2 look, which I just talked about, you're too high pre-snap, and then the safety is kind of buzzing around. He can come down in the box. He can cover curl flat. He can cover middle hook. You don't really know which safety is going to come down or where he's going to go. And that other safety is going to cover the deep middle. So that's cover 3 buzz. So you need 2 linebackers who are interchangeable. I see we got a Eagles fan in the comments saying y'all want to be the Eagles so bad. And
coming from the man who won a Super Bowl with the Cowboys offensive coordinator, I mean, that's always something I never can quite comprehend.
Right.
But okay.
And also, I've never in my life joined a Eagles podcast.
I haven't either. Must say, I'm thanks for the views, bro.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Jeff, I see your question, and we'll talk about that question in a minute also. We talk about the robber safety concepts. Again, robber safety means the safety's going to come down and he's going to rob certain areas. So you need a guy who can play all over the field, and that ultimately leads to quarterback confusion, because pre-snap it looks like cover 2. Post-snap, you don't know what they do. And then the last one, I talked about this, light boxes. So you need big defensive tackles because you're not going to have 8 in the box. You need defensive line gap discipline. So not only do you need big defensive linemen, you need guys who can cover 1 to 2 gaps and not give up the integrity of the scheme. You need fast flow linebackers because you're going to have your big defensive linemen covering gaps. So you need those linebackers to be able to pursue and get to the ball. And then, like I mentioned before, the safeties are going to be playing deep. So they're going to come down late and help fill gaps as well. Those are um the basic parts of the Christian Parker scheme. So now I got this little chart. So I just want to show you guys a couple of things before we go into the free agents. Kurt Whitmer said anything's better than last year. I see we got him going off a little bit in the chat.
I've never been bored enough or obsessed with the football team enough to show up on the team I say I hate so much as podcast and help them with views. I mean, in comments. We really appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, at least my quarterback can throw a football. I mean, 3-1, three turnovers and 1. I just want to remind everybody of that.
Yeah. Keep the dialogue going, Franklin. We appreciate it.
Yeah, keep going, buddy. What's up, Marcus?
Marcus Caviar, thank you for joining. All right, so I just want to go over a couple things and then we'll go into the free agents. So this is a basic 3-4 chart. If you see these numbers at the bottom, these are the gaps. So this is the center, guard, tackle, tight end. So you got your 0 nose tackles, that's 0. Then you got the 1 gap, 2. The even numbers are right on the player, 0, 2, 4, 6. And then the gaps are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So when you hear somebody say 3 tech, that means you have a player in the 3 gap. If you hear somebody say a 5 tech, 5. If you hear somebody say 4I, which you're going to hear a lot in this game, that means he's going to be lined up head up on the tackle, but it's going to be slightly inside. So it's going to be 4 slightly inside. So this, and I haven't adjusted it yet. I just put it up here. So basically what you're going to see in this scheme is this is what's considered 4I. So this is the 4, and then it's a little bit inside. And we talked about the defensive lineman having a lot of discipline. So this guy's going to be covering from here basically to here. So gap, what they call gap and a half. So he's got the 4 gap and he's got the 3 gap. Then you got this guy. He's going to be playing your nose. And then he's going to have to also watch this 1 gap. Now, this guy's going to be playing more of probably a 5 tech. So he's going to be playing from here to here. This is going to be Rashawn Gary right here. So he's going to be playing more outside contain to head up. And then this guy on the end is going to be more of your pass rusher coming outside of the tight end. So this is kind of what the scheme looks like. Light boxes, gap discipline. Now that's the front end. Now on the back end, we talked about cover 3 buzz and robber. So what cover 3 buzz means, as you can see, the safeties are both deep. They're going to start off deep all the time in this game. And you have to be interchangeable. In a typical scheme, this safety always covers curl flat. And this safety always covers deep middle. That's not what we're going to see in this new scheme. In this new scheme, these safeties are going to be more interchangeable. So sometimes this safety may cover the middle. Sometimes this safety may go curl flat. Or sometimes this safety will go deep, and then this safety has to run across the field and cover curl flat. So it's going to be a lot of confusion post snap because we talked about it earlier. You need safeties who can do it all. So if you know the free safety is here, typically you always know this safety is going to cover deep. Not in this game. Sometimes this safety may cover here. If this were the slot, sometimes this safety may have to come down and cover that nickel. Sometimes he may have to cover the nickel. So it's going to be a lot of different looks, a lot of confusion in this game. All right, so Jeff asked a question about the big defensive line in a 4-3. So let me take that out. So let me take this linebacker out. And put in, where's my corners? There it is. I'm going to put a corner right here. So we're going into a nickel. So that means we're going to have 4 defensive linemen. And we're going to pull. Actually, let me keep it like this. Because this linebacker is going to be Gary, and he's going to play like a defensive end. So when we go to more of a traditional 4-3 look, this is going to be Gary, and this can be Quentin Williams. This can be Kenny Clark. This can be Bullard. And then you can kind of manipulate your linebackers with whoever's there. So it's going to be a lot of movement. Sometimes Quentin Williams may be the 5 tech. Sometimes he may be the nose tackle. They're going to use him and find the best matchup for him. And the reason we brought in a guy like Ogbonia is so that we don't have to play Quentin Williams at the nose. We have a legitimate nose tackle who can get in there and take on double teams and let Quentin Williams rush. Or sometimes you may want to put Quentin Williams at nose tackle because they have a bad safety. I mean, a bad center. Now you sign a guy like Bullard because Bullard can play that 3 tech. So even though you put Quentin Williams right here, you don't have to put a Jay Toya or Ogbonia right here. You have a guy who's big enough to play the run and has enough explosiveness to give you some pass rush. And then you still got Kenny Clark, and you can move him around as well. So there's going to be a lot of flexibility in this scheme in terms of the back end as well as up front. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of these free agents and give you a breakdown of how they fit. Amanda, did you have anything you wanted to add before we go on?
No, I was playing around in the chat. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll let you do the X's and O's. I can talk players, but
okay.
That's you do the X's and O's. I'll make the sandwiches or something. I'm sure that's how Mr. Saint feels or something anyway. So I'm sorry. But no, let's go. I always learn when you start breaking those plays down. So
all right. So free agent profile, the first player we signed, and I talked about this, the number one part of this scheme is cover 2 and changing the look. So you have to have a safety who can play free safety, strong safety, and nickelback and be able to tackle. Jalen Thompson has position versatility. He played free, strong, and nickel in Carolina. He has familiarity with the scheme. Regardless of what the fan base wants to think, Jonathan Gannon is a Vic Fangio disciple. He did coach under Eberflus a little bit, but when he was with Philly, Vic Fangio was his consultant, and then the next year Fangio replaced him. So when he got the job with Arizona, he came in running those Vic Fangio concepts. And when they drafted, one of the first players they drafted was Jalen Thompson because of what he does. Um, Ryan Smith, our pass game coordinator, comes from the Cardinals. He runs those Vic Fangio concepts. So when he came, he wanted to make sure he had his guy. So he has familiarity with the pass game coordinator. Ryan Smith already knows how he wants to use him. And he's a field general type guy. I know we talked about we're looking for the green dot at the middle linebacker spot, but it's not unheard of for your green dot to be a safety. We saw it with Dan Quinn when we had what's the big safety's name?
Um, oh man,
The big safety we got from Minnesota. Somebody will get in the comments and tell me. But it's not unheard of for your safety to be your green dot guy. We've seen it in Dallas before, and it was very successful. If we don't get the mic that I think they want, I think Jalen Thompson's going to be your green dot. No, not Barry Church. This was 3 years. J. Ron Curse is the name.
oh okay,
Yeah. Yeah, J. Ron Curse, who Dan Quinn brought in, who played in the box a lot. I think Jalen Thompson's going to give you that same role where if we don't get the mic that we want, Jalen Thompson's not coming off the field. He's playing free, he's playing strong, he's playing nickel. He's going to be able to call the defense if the linebacker is not capable of doing it. So that's another reason why I feel like having the Mike linebacker is not as do or die as the fans want to make it out to be.
right.
Because this was their first signing for a reason. He's going to be our bread and butter on executing this defense. Yep, out of Clemson, J. Ron Curse. All right, so next free agent signing we'll stick in that secondary, and we go PJ Locke. This is another guy, position versatility. He can play some free. He can play some strong. You don't want him playing nickel, but if you needed him to, he can. He's a very willing tackler. So if you need a linebacker to come and fill the gaps in the run game, he is not afraid to do it. I just talked about it. He's familiar with the scheme. He was drafted in Denver when Vic Fangio was the head coach and they were running his scheme. He played under Christian Parker with the Broncos. Christian Parker was the defensive backs coach. So he trained this guy up. So he knows his skill set. Not a surprise that he was one of our first signings. When people look at it and say, oh, why did we sign a backup safety early in free agency? This is why. He is another integral part of a Christian Parker scheme. I wouldn't be shocked if after the draft, we draft a safety and then they let Malik Hooker go because you got Locke, you got Thompson, and then you got the rookie who's going to probably be a high IQ guy as well. Another guy, great against the run. Chris Woods got it right. Undrafted dog. He plays much bigger than his size, very willing tackler. Great against the run. Worst case scenario, the CJ Godwin train has probably reached the end of his tracks. He's going to be your new special teams leader, PJ Locke. So worst case scenario, he's going to be the guy who's the leader of your special teams. But I think he's going to have a major role on this defense. Heaven forbid somebody gets injured. I don't think there's going to be a significant drop-off because he understands the scheme and he's run it successfully. Okay, let's go to – let's stick with the secondary because we signed a lot of guys in the secondary. So we talk about Kobe Durant, another guy. He doesn't have any ties to the scheme, but he's known for being scheme versatile. He was drafted with the Rams. The Rams have had three different coordinators during his time there. He's another guy. He plays outside corner and he plays inside corner, and PFF grades him high in both of those categories. So if Bland or Revel are not as healthy as you like, you can throw him outside. If you want to put Bland back in the slot, you can throw him outside. Or if the Cowboys want to do what they've been talking about and they want to keep Bland outside, this is your perfect nickel. For you guys who miss Jordan Lewis, this is about as close as you can get to him in the NFL right now. Him and the other guy we're going to talk about in a minute. High football IQ, extremely smart guy. He understands coverage as well. He knows how to bait guys if he needs to. He's a physical player, very solid tackler, great against the run. And like I mentioned before, you can play him inside or outside.
I agree, Jeff. I agree. I'm not understanding the.
Did you block him, Amanda?
I'm so tired of the nonsense coming out of that Eagles fan's mouth. He's like, y'all quit talking about Dak. Nobody brought up Dak till you did, brother. Like, leave us alone. Like, obsession is insane. Get the D out of your mouth and move on, please.
Thank you. I wasn't watching the chat at that time, so I appreciate you keeping up with it.
Well, I was running my mouth a little bit too, but then I just got annoyed.
But yeah, Kurt Whitmer, Jordan Lewis was a dog. I promise
Agreed.
you, when we get to the preseason and training camp and you see Kobe Durant and you see the next guy we're going to talk about, you're going to be like, Jordan Lewis has some good replacements in terms of just physicality and just mentality on the field. So I really like this signing. I think he can start day one, no matter where you put him at.
I agree. I think he's going to start. I think he's going to start day one. So that's it. Week one, he's your starter.
All right. So let's talk about. We'll just stick with the secondary, and then we'll go D line. So next up is Darion Kendrick, another Clemson guy by way of Georgia, another guy with a high football IQ. Came from two top programs in college. He does have some limits athletically, but I think in the scheme we're going to run, we're going to see a lot of zone coverage. So with his high IQ, as well as the way he plays, I think he will be okay and not get put on an island. I don't think he's going to be a starter. I'll say that. But I think he's going to be your fourth, maybe fifth corner. First one off the bench. Very physical player. Great tackler. Great against the run. He can play inside, outside as well. He started for several years with the Rams. Then he got hurt. I think he tore his ACL and missed the season. And then when he came back, which was last year, I think he came back too soon. He didn't really pick up on how he played in 21, 22, and 23. But he was good enough to get signed by the Seahawks, Super Bowl champs, because he plays the way they like their corners to play. So if you watch the Seahawks play last year and you look at how intense they play, he fit right in with them. So that's the type of player he is. Great against the run, can play inside, outside, definite alpha mentality. He's not going to back down from anybody. I hate to see him and Pickens in training camp. I put it that way, because this is the type of guy that he's going to get in Pickens' face just because he likes to take on the big dogs to show that he's the bigger dog. But you're going to love it if he makes it to the regular season. Again, doesn't have that tie to the scheme, but when you list out what they're looking for in the secondary, he checks every box. All right, let's go to the defensive line now. I feel like I'm missing one. So Otito Ogbonnia. super high football IQ, UCLA kid, came from the Chargers, uh, played under Brandon Staley. I don't know if you guys follow the coaching tree, but Brandon Staley is a Vic Fangio disciple. So this kid was drafted under a Fangio disciple with the Chargers. Super smart guy. Um, People talk about field generals. He's a field soldier. He's the type of guy does not mind doing the dirty work. He's an old school nose tackle. 6'4", 330, super long arms. If you need him to get in a fight in the phone booth with the guard in the center, he's gonna do that. He's gonna hold his blocks. If you need him to give you some pass rush, he has enough athleticism to give you that. Um, if you need him to sacrifice to get a guy free at linebacker, he's gonna do that. Whatever you need, this is the type of guy who's gonna do it. He does have some injury concerns. He has, I believe, 3 of the 4 years he was in the league, he ended the year on injured reserve.
Yeah.
So you do have some injury concerns there. But again, great against the run, has all the traits you're looking for when you're looking for a nose tackle.
Yeah.
He has a 7-foot wingspan. He's 6'3". He's 330. He doesn't mind getting in a dogfight. And he's going to be one of those glue guys in the locker room. He's 20. I think he's 24 years old, 24, 25. So he's going to be one of those young guys who the other guys can kind of look at, because he's going to be one of those lead by example guys, always does the right thing and always open to making the team better. I'm shocked the Chargers didn't bring him back, but I kind of understand they changed the defensive coordinator. So when you do that, he probably didn't fit what they wanted to do. So I would say their loss is our gain. If this kid stays healthy, I think he's gonna open up a lot of stuff for Quentin Williams and Kenny Kenny Clark. Yeah. Great against the run. And that's not me saying that, Kurt Whitmer, just to make it sound good. If you look at all these players and watch them play, they're all great against the run. And like I said before, when I go back to what you're looking for in Christian Parker's scheme, you got to stop the run with light boxes. So you need a guy like this who's going to get down and dirty and keep those rushing lanes closed. Let's see. If we can stop the run for real, the secondary play will get a lot easier if quarterbacks are forced to throw. That's kind of the intent of a Christian Parker scheme. You want to try to get them in third and longs, and then you want to let your safeties and your corners kind of mix things up and make it confusing for quarterbacks. Easier said than done in today's league, but I think we have a couple of games on our schedule where we can trick a couple of these quarterbacks. William Wiggins says Pickens going to eat him alive. I don't doubt that. I'm just saying after the whistle, it's going to be a different story. He might not win before the whistle, but he's going to try to win after the whistle. That's the type of guy he is. And you're going to love it as a Cowboys fan. Yeah, Brandon Staley is a good coach. He comes from that Vic Fangio tree, same as Christian Parker. So I think that's going to be really helpful, getting a guy like this. And you bring up State as a good coach, and that takes me to our last free agent that we signed. This was the last one in, and this is Jonathan Bullard, another guy. And I hate to keep throwing these same phrases out there, but they all fit. High football IQ. He has scheme familiarity. He played under Vic Fangio. He was drafted by the Bears when Vic Fangio was there in 2015, I believe. So Fangio drafted this guy for his scheme. He left Chicago eventually. He ended up with the Saints under Brandon Staley, another Vic Fangio disciple. Then he went to Minnesota, He played under our current defensive line coach, Marcus Dixon. So, smart guy, knows the scheme, played under the Godfather, played under the disciple. Our defensive line coach knows him well. Another guy who's really good against the run. Um, he gives you scheme versatility. Like I talked about on my chart, he can play 3 tech, he can play 4 tech, he can play 5 tech. If you want to move Quentin Williams around, Bullard gives you the opportunity to move Williams around because he's such a smart player and he's such a versatile player. He's about 295, so he's big enough to hold up in the run, but he's athletic enough to give you some pass rush. I think he ran a 4.9 in the 40 in the combine, so he has some athleticism. And then he's going to give you some on-field leadership as well. So he's going to be another one of those guys who, if you don't want Quentin Williams to have to be the guy who kind of has to get guys going or pull a guy to the side, you want him to focus on being the best player on the field. Now you have leaders like a Jonathan Bullard, like a Ogbonia, who can talk to these young guys and make sure that they stay on task. So I'm really liking all these signings. They're not the signings we're looking for, but I used to talk about this years ago, where fans would be upset because we didn't sign the big names. And for me personally, I always felt like that's like lazy GMing. Like if I got a GM, I want the GM to be able to find the guy who fits the scheme. It doesn't have to be a big name. And we've seen it all the time. The Eagles fans love, but I'll give you an example. Zach Bond. Zach Bond was on the practice squad for the Saints under Brandon Staley, a Vic Fangio disciple. Fangio saw something in him, brought him from the Saints practice squad, and in 1 year, he was an all-pro linebacker.
All-pro, yep.
Because he saw a guy who fit what he wanted, regardless of what his background was, and he made it work. That's what I want from a GM, and I feel like I'm not trying to project that any of these guys will be all pros, but I think somebody's going to step up. I think a couple of guys are going to step up and be a lot better than we think they are.
I told you I told the DC for All admin chat, what was it, 2 days ago? I think CP is going to bring the dog back out of Deron Bland, barring injury. I really do. I think he was the victim of a terrible scheme last year with Eberflus. Eberflus was the example. You said it earlier at the beginning of the show, fitting a round peg in a square hole, or square peg in a round hole. That's really what Eberflus was doing, just forcing people into a system that we don't fit.
Yeah.
I think CP is going to get Bland back to where he was. We are not far removed from I don't think he made all pro. We know he made Pro Bowl.
No, he was all pro. He was third in MVP. He was third in MVP voting.
Really? Deron was? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm not crazy then. I didn't want to say it wrong, but I think we're going to bring him back. I think we're going to get there. Injuries really hurt him, and then he was the victim of Trevon Diggs and his lack of play. I think he was trying to make up for a lot of holes in a lot of places.
Right.
So I really think that we're going to see the Deron Bland we got a couple years ago.
Yeah. So I'm going to address these two questions together. Jeff asked, how do we feel about Leofau coming off the edge?
Hop.
And William Wiggins saying all we are missing is linebacker. I know they said Leofau is going to go on the edge. I think they're going to put him back inside, personally. I think they're going to try to either he's going to get cut or they're going to try to use him like a, what do you call it? Like a jack, the jack position, where you have a guy who can play inside and outside, because he's big enough that he can set the edge, but he's athletic enough that he can cover in the middle of the field. I think he's going to be your fifth linebacker who gives you some outside pass rush. So I feel like if we look at the linebacker spot, let me go on one of my tangents.
I know where this is going.
I don't think we're as bad as linebackers people think we are. And Amanda, you said the same thing in our group chat.
I,
Overshown has injury concerns. We don't deny that.
yep.
But Overshown is a top half of the NFL linebacker.
When fully healthy.
When fully healthy,
Yeah.
he can play Will or he can play Mike. He's played some Mike before. Smart guy. Shamar James. I know people want to rag on him. He was a 5th-round rookie who was essentially thrown in the fire. And in 4 starts, 2 of those starts he had more than a dozen tackles. He had 91 tackles for the year as a 5th-round rookie. I'm not saying he's going to start, but if you need to rely on him to be your 3rd or 4th linebacker, I don't think that's a problem. I think he's more than capable of doing that.
I know you ever. I'm gonna jump on this boat. Look,
Yeah.
I have some crazy ideas looking at the draft. I'm kind of on this. We'll get there in a couple of weeks because we're going to talk about it before the draft, like always. But I'm on the Marcus train here. I know everyone's worried, and I still think they're going to bring in a veteran at some point. But with the scheme that we're going to play, yes, a linebacker is important. I'm not saying it isn't, but I think we're okay. Overshown always was having to play a little bit harder than most. I don't know how to put it. He was filling roles for people because other people were letting up, and Overshown was pushing more because he's just not a lazy guy. I think with the scheme that we have with that beef up front, and you've got Overshown running free, I just don't see the worry. I know we need a green dot guy, but we've got 2 veterans. And no, Shamar's not a veteran, but I agree. I think that I think he's being slept on.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to bring in a vet, but don't be surprised if we don't do anything yet.
Yeah.
I think they're going to see, because I'll say it now. I'm still on the boat that I think they might try to do something crazy with these 2 first-round picks. They filled wet. Kurt, you beat me. I was literally no, you can't.
He was leading into it, Kurt.
If I knew who you were, I'd come over there and give you a spanking. That's not fair. But I really think they're going to mess around with 20 and try to move up. I think they're going after Sonny Styles. I can't shake it. And if they don't do that, they're going to fall back. They're going to trade out so they can get a second, and they're going to hop up and take Rodriguez from Texas Tech, which I also wouldn't be opposed to. So I'm on the boat. I think that's why we haven't seen any linebacker movement. I think because everybody else obviously is not going anywhere. So I'm really on the Sonny Styles train myself. I think we're going to pop up.
And I'll add 2 things to that. Number one, if you look at the history of the draft, regardless of athleticism, off-ball linebackers don't get drafted high. So I know people keep saying, well, Styles is going to be out of our range.
Top 5. That's what everyone's saying.
Name me a linebacker. Name me an inside linebacker drafted in the top 10. Just name one. Can you think of anybody? Top 10 linebacker? Anybody in the comments? Michael Parsons went 12. And he's more athletic. And he only went 12 because they thought he could be a pass rusher. Not because he was, because they thought he could. And he went 12.
And it's a deep linebacker draft. There's plenty of serviceable linebackers in the 2nd and 3rd. Who above us is going to reach? I think we have to get up to 8 to be safe. That's my personal opinion. I think we need to jump up to 8 to be able to get Sonny. I mean, let's look at so first is what? The Raiders, right?
And in the comment, while you talk about this in the comments,
let's see.
Someone name me the last inside linebacker to go top 10. Jeff said Luke Kuechly. Let me check. Luke Kuechly was drafted 9th in 2012, 14 years ago. That's the example you give me. It's a good answer, but that's 14 years ago, and that linebacker went 9th.
So my point, let's figuratively look at the first, everyone picking above us. Raiders, we know what the Raiders are doing. They need a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Fernando, right? I mean, I don't remember. It's Fernando Mendoza? No.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so he's going number 1. What do the Jets need? Do the Jets need an off-ball linebacker?
The Jets can use a lot but I don't think it'll be off by a
I don't
linebacker
think so.
too.
Arizona did.
No.
Mighty Mouse is gone, so they need a quarterback. And then you got the Tennessee Titans. I mean, I guess you could be a little concerned there. They just got Cam Ward, so I guess you could worry there. But I think they're going to take Jeremiah Love. I still think that's where they're going. Number 5. Now, the Giants. That's someone you could feasibly worry about that you might want to jump up to get.
Let me cut you off 1 second, Amanda.
Okay.
Jeff Roquan Smith did go 9th as well in 2018. And William Wiggins, we took LVE at 14. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Amanda.
It's okay. So I'm figuratively looking. I think we need to get up to 8 and jump the Chiefs because I think that would be a Chiefs pick. I think that's the first person that we need to worry about taking Sonny Styles in the draft. But then again, crazier things have happened. I mean, when you look back on things. So, I mean, for all we know, the Chiefs aren't going to have Patrick to start, and they got to find a quarterback. We don't, So I really think we got to get up to 8. I don't think we have to jump that far. And originally, Kurt, since you brought it up, I thought we would have to give up 20 to move up enough to get him. But the more Marcus has talked about it, the more I've looked into it. We gave up we gave up an extra. We got an extra 3, or did we give up we got an extra 3 with Micah to go back what?
2 or 3 spots.
2 or 3 spots. And then we saw it last year too. Someone needed to move up 3 spots and they gave up a 3rd. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we might not even have to give up that second first.
Yeah. If it was a quarterback, that'd be a different story. But we're talking about a linebacker.
Linebacker.
Yeah.
So
I agree. The other monkey wrench I have to throw in here. We talk about how devalued linebackers are, and going back to Jeff's point, Roquan Smith and Luke Kuechly were known as extremely cerebral alpha linebackers. Right. That's not saying Sonny Styles isn't, but he's known more as an athletic freak than he's going to be a field general day one. So that explains why those guys went that high, because Luke Kuechly was known as one of the smartest players in college who would come into the league and be one of the smartest players in the NFL. Roquan Smith was the same way. So I don't think a freak athlete linebacker is going to necessarily go high. And people are forgetting, offensive line play in the NFL is pretty bad. The Chiefs have lost Mahomes to 2 serious injuries, and they've lost 2 Super Bowls or 1 off of horrible offensive line play.
1
against the Eagles, right?
Just the Eagles, yeah.
So so they have to get a tackle. I mean, their tackles are trash, and they're never gonna pick this high again. So if you have,
most likely not,
right? If you're the Chiefs and you have a chance to get the number 1 tackle on a rookie contract coming out of college, how can you pass that up for an off-ball linebacker that you may use because he's a freak athlete?
True.
That's my argument with the fan base. Now, because the Chiefs may never pick this high again, they're playing with house money, so they could go anywhere. They could just say, we're just going to take the best player that we can get because we're so good everywhere else. He just makes us better. Or they could say, we got to get a tackle to protect Patrick Mahomes for the second half of his career.
Another thought too is, Mansour Delane is up there, and they just lost Trent McDuffie, so that's another direction they could go. So right. I can play that game with my own thoughts. The draft goes so we. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were live last year when we drafted Tyler Booker. Okay. Yeah. Our faces said every word there was. Now, look, Jerry proved us wrong by going and getting George Pickens, 3 days later? Not even 3 days later after the draft ended. Would you say this is a defensive draft more than it is offense, or do you think it's offensive?
Oh, the top of the draft is definitely weighed heavily defensive.
I thought so.
The top of the draft, absolutely. These are like day 1 starter type guys.
Yeah.
So when I look at the draft, I think 8 and 10 are our spots that we have to worry about. 8 with the Chiefs because they could take just the biggest athlete. 10 with the Bengals because
they're stupid.
they gotta get as much defense as possible because their offense is loaded. But how many years has
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow stayed upright?
Well, and see, so they might jump up trying to get in front of the Chiefs to take that number one tackle too, if you want to think about it. So
Right. Or they could say we're never gonna pick this high again. We can get the number 2 tackle and have a bookend for the next 12 years. There's gonna be historically over the past 10 years, there's only been 3 years where at least 2 offensive linemen weren't taken in the first 10 picks. And nobody's talked about that second offensive lineman so far in this draft season.
yeah.
History says there's gonna be 2. And if 2 are taken, that's gonna push back one of these defensive players that we like. And I feel like it's gonna be Styles or Bain that gets pushed back.
What about? I think Downs could even be at 20 with the injury worry now.
That's
another freak athlete. I wouldn't take him at 12 because I'm tired. That we ain't got a second round pick to spend on the poor guy, or he'd be my number 1 pick for the second round. Poor guy. But I do. Well, William, I was just shocked. Okay. But we might have won that if you want to look at what he did, who we all thought he was going after. If we want to look what he did in Green Bay, it wasn't much of anything. You can credit that to the quarterback there. You can credit it to the fact that they're a run first team and they spread the ball around. But I'm very glad we didn't take Golden. Looking back, Booker's going to be one of those guys that's going to be an anchor on this line for years to come. We finally don't need really an offensive line player, but it wouldn't be surprising if we picked one because that history proves that we love taking offensive linemen in the first round.
Yeah, I gotta wait till we get closer to the draft, but I feel like there's gonna be 4 to 5 offensive players taken in the top 10 that nobody's talking about right now.
Well, is there a right tackle named Tyler?
Not high in the draft.
Okay.
Not high enough for us to take them.
Right up the Cowboys' alley. Just go ahead and make it the wall of Tyler at that point, centered by Cooper.
Tyler Cooper. But yeah, historically, there's going to be 2 offensive linemen taking top 10. We know Love's going top 10. A wide receiver is going to get taken top 10.
Right.
There's no question. It's going to be Giants, Titans, who could be the Jets. Somebody's taking a. What's that?
You think the Giants go after a receiver at 5?
They could because their other receiver had a horrific injury last year, and they just lost the other receiver to the Titans. So if their receiver doesn't come back healthy, the cupboard's bare wide receiver in New York. Because didn't their receiver have like a horrific injury like week 5 or week 6 or something?
Yeah, sorry, my speaker's messed up.
Yeah.
Are you discussing the running back?
No, I was talking about, you said that, do I think the Giants will take a receiver? And I said,
Neighbors.
yeah, their receiver had a horrific injury last year.
True.
And they just lost their other receiver to the Titans in free agency. So they don't have anybody.
Okay. I didn't realize they lost their second guy. So
yeah. And they got a new coach. They got their star quarterback.
I knew Neighbors was out. And then I'm curious though, they could even go up for Jeremiah Love, given
They could.
What's his name? Man, the guy who's gonna have a CTE next year.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name right now.
I can't either, but yeah. But he broke his ankle.
He broke his ankle, and he's one helmet. The man leads with his head everywhere he goes. So they could even take Jeremiah Love, which I don't watch enough college football to know, but apparently he's a very, very good running back. So Scatteraboo, Cam Scatteraboo, there we go.
But there's going to be 2 linemen. There's going to be a wide receiver. We know there's going to be a running back. There's a chance a third lineman could go. There's a slight chance. There's a chance that the freak athlete at tight end. People are talking about the freak athlete and Sonny Styles, the tight end from Oregon ran a 4.3 at 6.5.
Wow.
The last time that happened, Kyle Pitts went 5th overall. So there's a chance the tight end could get taken top 10. So there's
Poor
going to
guy.
be some guys that get pushed back. And again, I think off-ball linebacker is going to be the one that pays the price.
That would be very nice for us. So
Yeah. So yeah, as we get closer to the draft, just pay attention to that and really look at team needs. The Giants could take a tackle. I mean, people are. I just cannot see a team that has a star quarterback and does not have a tackle taking an off-ball linebacker. I just can't see it. No matter how freaky of an athlete he is, he doesn't really help your team when you have a star quarterback who can't stay upright. So I think if he falls past the Chiefs, I think we have, if nobody leapfrogs us, I think we have a good shot of him falling to 11 or 12. I mean 10 or 11. And then we just gotta hope that Miami doesn't sell us and let somebody leapfrog us. Jeff says if the cornerback and Styles are both there, who do you take?
I think free agency would lead you to believe that they would take Sonny simply because with Cody Durant and who else? Kendrick. I don't.
Revel coming back.
Right, Revel. Kalen Carson is exceptional in 3-4. That's Marcus taught me that. That's his bread and butter.
Yeah, he played it at Wake Forest.
Hopefully we see that come out. You've got Deron Bland. I think the corner room's too heavy at that point if you have both of them on the board.
Now you still have Randy Stewart too from last year.
Now, if you only have Delane on the board, I think you'd be hard pressed to say that that's not the direction you go, because he's also going. I think would be great. So
yeah. I don't think you can go wrong either way. I'm convinced we're taking 2 defensive players first round. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree.
There's no way. And we talk about linebacker, and I've seen the conversation online, and then we'll kind of wind it down. People keep saying you don't let a Mike lead your defense for the season because you're throwing them in the fire. And my response to that is what Amanda said earlier. You can put a Mike in week 8, 9, 10, 11. Let them start off playing wheel. You've got Jalen Thompson at safety who can call your defense. You've got Overshown. Overshown starts off as your Mike. You draft Hill or Allen or Rodriguez. Let them play wheel. Let them learn the scheme. And then at some point, you flip them. So now you're week 10, 11, 12. And this kid has seen it all, and he's had a full training camp and half a season to kind of get his feet under him, and then you put him in Mike. Right. So I just keep seeing people like, if you draft a linebacker, you got to put him in as green dot. No, we have a middle linebacker, and we have a backup middle linebacker who can get us through half a season. So it's not as dire of a need that we got to find a green dot, but I think we're going to get one, because the linebacker group is really, really good this year.
Yeah, I think that there's getting that third pick for Osa was instrumental. Yeah. Because of course we didn't have one. I'd like to see us do a little bit more. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see us make a few more moves before the draft. But Jerry seems to be doing it differently, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm trying to ride with Jerry Jones this year. Mm-hmm. Even though I posted earlier that I was no longer a Cowboys fan for the fun of it to see what people would say for April Fool's Day. I really think that we have moved differently all off season so far. And if there's any hope for a Cowboys fan, you have to be grateful at the difference. We saw it start last year when Schottenheimer was hired. Everyone said he was, a typical hire, but we have seen that that's not the case. We have a year. Now he's going into year 2, and that man has something to prove. He had his offense ready. Mm-hmm. Granted, we could get better in the red zone, but he had his offense ready. His defense failed him, and that was a retread from Jerry. Eberflus was a Jerry retread, not a shoddy hire. You can tell this is not a Jerry hire.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Parker is a shoddy hire, and I'm excited to see what year two for shoddy looks like with probably, you said it earlier, one of the top, what will be one of the top head coaching prospects in a few years.
Yeah, 3 years
Honestly, if he
max.
has a great year this year, it could be next year, and we're
I,
going to be in the same boat.
I agree.
But I think CP is going to change this, and I think that's why the Eagles fan in here was probably so mad because
Yeah,
they took Christian Parker, who's clearly made their secondary what it was. I mean, they had a fantastic secondary. You took that away. Now we have the Fangio system working for us. The Eagles probably, as long as Christian Parker's here, I would bet they don't beat us simply because everything that Jalen does, CP's going to know. Dak already had it. Now you have even more information to it.
mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited to see what we do in the draft. And then I think they'll continue to fill holes once we go. And just like you said in the chat a few days ago, Clowney will probably end up back on this team. I think he's
Yeah,
not signed anywhere for a reason. I think Clowney likes being in Dallas. I think that's he played too well not to bring him back. And I was worried about it at first, but he's old and apparently nobody wants him because he's still out there. So
yeah,
I really think we're going to bring him in for the edge, which is something that we need. At least as a camp body, let him have a full camp with us. And I don't know. I have faith in this team. And everybody's made fun of me when I posted. I don't care. This team is not far off. I do not think this team is far off. The offense proved that it was successful.
yeah,
It was great last year. We were a defense away from probably what could have been one of the deeper runs we made.
yeah.
Now you're getting your defense right, and you brought back. You haven't lost an offensive piece, which we usually don't.
Absolutely.
Devontae Williams, George Pickens, Brandon Aubrey's under a tender. You haven't lost him. You did your RFAs with TJ Bass. You didn't lose him. You kept that line, which when we had line injuries last year, that line was still formidable.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to see that. William, to your point, I know you're saying it's shoddy, yes, but shoddy can't operate if Jerry doesn't let him. I know it's shoddy, yes, I'll give shoddy the credit, but Jerry will. It doesn't happen if Jerry doesn't say okay. You have to give some credit to Jerry Jones there. So
yeah. And going back to Jeff's question, if Delane and Styles are both there, who do you take, or do you just take Downs? I'll be honest, Jeff. I'm happy with any option. Downs has the injury concerns, and those have been well documented and can be serious. But knowing what I know about Christian Parker and how his scheme is secondary based, Downs makes it that much better. And when I hear degenerative, that doesn't scare me as much because, to be honest, I'm not the type of guy who feels like if we draft a guy, they're supposed to be here for 20 years. It's great if they are, but if you get a guy and he gives you 3 to 5 great years and then he leaves and you get something back for him, to me, that's a good draft pick. So if Downs is the type of guy who can come here and he can be what he was in college for Christian Parker for 3 years, I'm happy with that because I think we have a 3-year window right now. If his knee gives out year 5 and we got 3 great years from him and we got some good playoff runs, I'm still happy with it. But Delane and Styles, both of those guys will be home runs. No matter which one you take, it's an upgrade at the position over who we have. So I'm not upset either way you go. To be honest, I don't care who they take, 12 or 20. If it's defensive, the way this draft is structured, Amanda, we talked about it earlier, this is a defensive draft at the top. You're gonna get a top player, and they're gonna come in and be productive week 1. Yeah, I can't think of a defensive player they would take that I would be upset about.
I can't either.
And I know people were upset about the Allen talk earlier in the season, the beginning of the year, but that doesn't bother me either. He's a super cerebral guy, and the way this scheme is going to be set, your safeties are going to be called on to do a lot in coverage, a lot, and they've got the right guys. So I think if they have some deficiencies with Allen possibly in coverage, I think those safeties are good enough to cover it up. William says Downs, Messidor, and Wheatley or the Styles brother in the seventh. I mean, I don't. If it's defensive, it's gonna work, in my opinion. If it's defensive in the first round, unless they just absolutely reach out of nowhere, you can list me 30 guys in this draft. If you told me we took one of them at 20, I'm good with it. I don't care the name. You can go with the 30th guy on your defensive board. If he's the pick at 20, he's going to be a day one starter, and he's probably going to be, if he's not a defensive lineman, he's going to be the best player at that position. So yeah, so I wanted to get the free agent talk out of the way. Well, we'll go more into the draft talk as we move forward. Next week, I will be doing top 5 positions of need, and from there, I'll be doing my top 5 players in the draft based off those 5 positions. The week after that, I'm gonna have a couple of guests join the show, and we're gonna do a mock draft. We'll do from 1 to 11. So I don't like to do that by myself because then I can be biased. So I like to bring in other guys who know football. So we'll pick 1, 2, 3. I don't know who they're gonna pick beforehand. So when they pick, I have to change my thinking on the spot like the team would. So we're gonna go picks 1 through 11, and then we're all gonna pick 12 to kind of see who falls there, looking at different perspectives. And then I think the week after that should be the Wednesday before the draft. Amanda will probably come back, and then we'll do our own mock drafts for the draft, and then we'll roll into that, and we'll cover day 1
Right.
of the NFL draft.
Year 3.
Yeah, year 3.
Year
So we'll
3.
be here for the first round. If you guys want to join us Thursday night, I'll probably be dipping in and out through day 2 and day 3. You'll probably see me with the UK Cowboys and a couple other people, but I will stream to this channel if I don't think they're gonna get too demonstrative in their reactions to the picks. But got a lot of draft stuff coming up, so make sure you guys stick with us, and you can catch us every Wednesday night at 8:30 Central Standard Time for the Fifth Quarter podcast from now throughout the rest of the year. I don't see any weeks that I'll have to miss, so we should be pretty consistent going forward. Sure, you guys are going to see Amanda with us quite a bit as well as we get deeper and deeper into the season, and as well as some other guests. So if you're a first timer and you like what you saw, please make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you join us every Wednesday night, 8:30 Central Standard Time for the Fifth Quarter podcast. Before we go, Amanda, you got any closing words?
I appreciate everybody joining in. It was so good to get back in the feel of things. It's been a while. Quest for 6 is officially starting, and we'll have some giveaways for draft night like usual. Marcus, thanks for having me on tonight.
All right, thank you for joining.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to talk Cowboys football. And thank you to everybody who shows up. I really appreciate it. And I know Marcus does as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, this show is fueled by Fifth Quarter Nation. Thank you, guys. Thank you, William Wiggins, Jeff, Kurt Whitmer. Did I miss anybody?
I think we're good.
Yeah, so you guys really brought it with the comments today. For those of you watching for the first time, get in the comments. Ask a question, leave a comment, give us feedback. We love any type of engagement and interactions that we can get.
Even so Eagles fans.
Yeah. Jeff will probably be joining us during the draft. So you'll see Jeff on camera as well at some point. So thank you guys for joining. Appreciate you tuning in. And as always, let's go Cowboys. I'll see you guys next week.
Peace.